Imagine for a moment, just a moment, that every thought and emotion you experienced is like a wave in the ocean. Waves come and go, ebb and flow, each one different, yet connected. Just as the tide naturally moves, the waves of your feelings and thoughts, they're always in motion, always shifting. What if these waves, even the ones that feel heavy, they're simply reminders that change is possible? That it's not about staying stuck in one place, but about the flow of life, carrying you along to new shores. Sometimes when you feel like you've tried and tried, you may even wonder if all that effort has led anywhere. And in those moments, it's easy to believe that you're stuck, like the waves have stopped moving. But isn't it fascinating that waves can crash in one place, and yet the entire ocean keeps moving? The very act of being, of trying, of even questioning, is part of the process. And just like a wave can't help but move, you too can't help but move forward, whether you realize it or not. And I wonder, can you imagine how it might feel to simply pause, just for a second, and notice there's always space between each wave. The space where nothing is rushing, where the ocean just is. In this space, there's room to breathe, room to notice the things that are already shifting, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Because sometimes things are changing beneath the surface, just waiting to emerge. And when you least expect it, that shift will bring you something new. Consider for a moment a time when you believed something was impossible, when you felt trapped by a situation. Perhaps you didn't see the way out, didn't know how it could possibly change, but somehow things did shift, didn't they? Maybe not in the way you expected, but something changed. What if right now your body is simply opening up to more possibilities? What if there are ways you haven't yet imagined, ways that are just beginning to unfold? And now imagine this. There are certain parts of you that already know how to handle this. Imagine you've deep within you an innate wisdom, like the roots of a tree. Those roots, they don't worry about the storm. They don't question whether they'll survive. They simply grow, seeking out the nutrients they need, trusting the process of growth is continuous. Even though the wind may blow and the leaves may fall, the tree itself stands tall, always reaching higher. What if your journey was much like that tree? Each day you're growing, you're reaching. There may be moments where you feel like the storms are too much. But just as the trees are rooted deep, so too are you. You're connected to a part of yourself that knows how to heal, how to shift from sadness into a place of hope, how to move beyond this feeling of being stuck. And isn't it possible that right now you're beginning to see things in a different way? What if every experience, even the hardest ones, they're simply stepping stones, each one a part of a bigger journey, leading you to a new wisdom, new strengths, new abilities you didn't even know you had. And as you continue to listen, you might even begin to realize your thoughts and feelings, as strong and overwhelming as they may feel, they're simply temporary. They're like clouds in the sky, always passing, always moving. And beneath those clouds, the sky is always clear, always present. You don't need to hold on to the clouds, because beneath them, the peace and the clarity is always there, just waiting for you to notice it. Now think about a time when you felt successful. Maybe it was something small, or maybe something big. But there was a moment when you felt a sense of accomplishment. And what if that feeling of accomplishment is available to you now, no matter what you're facing? What if you can start to notice the small wins, the little steps forward, just like a traveller noticing each mile that takes them closer to their destination? It's not always the big leaps that matter the most. It's the consistent, gentle steps, always leading forward, always towards something better. And as you reflect on where you are right now, and where you want to go, can you allow yourself to see that even though the path might not be clear right now, you're already on it. You've already started the process of moving beyond those feelings of hopelessness, beyond those moments where you felt stuck. And in that new chapter, with every breath you take, with every thought that shifts, you're changing. Isn't it possible that over time, you can allow those feelings of sadness and frustration to transform into fuel for your growth? They're not walls, but stepping stones to bring you closer to the person you're becoming. They're not the end of your story. They're just the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with hope, with possibilities, with strength you didn't even know you had. As you begin to notice these shifts, you might realize all along, you've been more resilient than you ever gave yourself credit for. You've been growing, evolving, even in the moments where it seemed like nothing was changing, because everything is changing, all the time, in ways that are subtle and deep and meaningful. And now, as you listen to your thoughts and feelings, notice how the very act of acknowledging them can allow them to shift. Notice how you can be kind to yourself, gentle with yourself, because there's no rush, no deadline. You can simply be. And in that being, find your way to peace, step by step, day by day. The journey unfolds, and you can trust you're exactly where you need to be, always moving, always growing, always reaching towards what's next. What if in the end, all of this, the sadness, the frustration, the uncertainty, is just part of the great dance of life? What if it's all just part of the process that leads you to a place of greater wisdom, a place of peace, a place where you see that actually you've always had the strength to overcome? And so, you may just find the next step, however small it feels, is the one that begins to turn everything around. Just like the waves, always moving, always shifting. As you keep going, you'll find yourself arriving in places you never expected. And with each step, you'll notice the heaviness of the past is becoming lighter. Just like the clouds parting to reveal the sun. Because what if everything you ever needed was already inside you? What if all of this, in its own time, becomes the story of how you rose above, how you broke through, how you healed? And now, as the journey continues, you move forward with a deep sense of trust, knowing that each day brings you closer to who you're becoming. And so you keep moving, always forward, always reaching. And I want you to consider, just for a moment, how sometimes things feel so heavy, like there's a weight that pulls you down, as though you're carrying more than you can manage. And yet every single day you experience moments where you breathe in deeply and feel the lightness return, just a little bit, like a bird taking flight, effortlessly gliding towards a brighter horizon. You might not see it all at once, but you begin to feel it, how the world still offers moments of peace, even in the midst of uncertainty. And as you imagine that bird soaring in the vast sky, you can begin to understand something subtle and important. The journey, it isn't about avoiding the clouds. It's about knowing, beyond every cloud, the sun is always waiting to shine through. Maybe you don't need to fight the clouds anymore. Maybe it's enough to just trust the sky is vast. And you can always rise, no matter how heavy the cloud may seem. Think about it for a moment. The very clouds that seem so blocking, so overwhelming, they're simply part of a greater pattern. Just as the rain nourishes the earth, and just as the wind shapes the mountains, so too do your experiences shape the person you're becoming. Even when you can't see it, there's a constant flow of energy moving you forward, just like the tide moves in and out, without resistance, without struggle. And you're part of that flow, whether you know it or not. Now imagine something even deeper. Can you feel how, when you allow yourself to simply trust, the way forward becomes clear? What if, just by allowing yourself to release the need to control, to push, to fix, you can find new pathways? What if it's okay to not have all the answers right now? It's almost as if the act of surrendering to the process itself brings the solutions closer. As if the universe is gently whispering to you, showing you, guiding you towards your next steps, even before you fully realize it. As you breathe in, you might begin to notice there's a deep relaxation that naturally follows. You can just let go of trying, of worrying, of striving. You can simply be present, knowing this moment, this breath, is part of something greater than you can imagine. There's a flow to it, a grace that moves through you, whether you see it or not, like the river flowing towards the sea. The river doesn't question its course, it just flows, trusting. It's always on its way to where it needs to be. And so, in your own life, you too can trust that every feeling, every thought, every moment is a part of your own natural flow. What if right now you could see all the moments where you've tried and tried, where you felt like you were going in circles, not knowing if it was worth it, not seeing the point of it all? What if those very moments would have prepared you for something bigger, something greater, something you can't even yet imagine? After all, how could a caterpillar know the beauty of a butterfly without the cocoon? How could the seed know the strength of the tree without first pushing through the soil? The way forward, then, it isn't about looking for the destination. It's about embracing the journey. Because just as a tree grows from the tiniest of seeds, with patience and time, so too are you growing. You might not always see it, but your roots are deep, your foundation strong. And just as you can trust that a tree will reach towards the sun, you can trust that you're moving towards something greater, even if you don't always understand it in the moment. So imagine now, there are parts of you deep within that know exactly what to do. These parts of you, they've been learning and growing, ever so subtly all along. Maybe you didn't even realize it, but you've been preparing for this moment. And just as a flower blossoms, when the conditions are right, so too do you bloom, when you allow yourself to trust in the natural flow of life. Everything you experienced, all the challenges, all the struggles, they've been part of your preparation. They've been teaching you something, guiding you towards your own growth, in ways you might not even consciously recognize yet. And what if in this moment, everything you need is already within you? What if right now, the answers you're seeking are already becoming clear, already beginning to surface? The truth is, when you let go of the need to control, when you stop trying to force things into place, the universe aligns in ways that feel effortless. It's like planting a seed and simply trusting that it will grow into something magnificent. There's no need to rush it. There's no need to force it. It's enough to simply nurture it, to allow it to unfold at its own pace. So take a deep breath now and notice how that breath feels, flowing into your body and out again in a continuous rhythm, like the waves of the ocean. It's as though this breath connects you to everything around you, to everything inside you. You're part of something vast, something beautiful, something ever-changing. And just as the ocean waves come and go, so too do your thoughts and feelings, moving, flowing, shifting and changing. And even now you might begin to realize how this shifting is a natural part of the process, a process that leads you to something greater. Even if you don't see it clearly yet, you're changing, evolving, moving forward. Every thought, every feeling, every moment is taking you where you need to be. In the very same way that the seasons change, that the sun rises and sets, so too do you experience cycles of growth, of renewal, of release. And with each cycle you become more connected to the wisdom within you. Just as the winter prepares the earth for the spring, so too do your challenges prepare you for the next phase of your growth. Every experience, every feeling, every thought is part of the greater design of life. And now, as you begin to feel this deep sense of trust, knowing that you're moving in the right direction, you can begin to notice how the heaviness is beginning to lift, just a little. Just as the fog dissipates with the warmth of the sun, so too the doubts and fears fade away, allowing for space and clarity, for peace, for a sense of purpose that's always, always there. What if right now everything you ever needed is already within you, already available, ready to be tapped into, like an endless well of wisdom and strength? All you need to do is trust. It's there, that you have the ability to access it whenever you need it. And just as the tide continues to move, so too will your strength, your wisdom, and your resilience continue to grow. So take another deep breath now, and let yourself know deep down. The next step is already unfolding. You don't have to see it all clearly right now, but you can trust that you're exactly where you need to be. The journey continues, and with each step, you're moving closer to the person you're becoming.